If you want to drop more kills, win more games, and stop feeling lost on Rebirth Island, this is the only guide you'll need. My name is Alyus, and I've coached over 1,000 players using this exact system, and by the end of this video, you'll be better than 90% of your lobbies. Let's start with our gunfight system that'll allow you to get more kills and survive longer. Your first instinct every time you see the enemy or get shot shouldn't be shoot the enemy, it should be get back behind cover. Once you get back behind cover, you now have 3 options to kill your opponent. The first option is re-challenge the opponent, and ideally they're either pushing you and you break their camera, or when you re-challenge, you're able to get peeker's advantage and land first shots. The second thing you can do is instead of re-challenging, you reposition and you challenge the enemy from a different angle. This could be laying on the ground and shooting the enemy from an off angle. You could also simply go to a different window or different doorway inside of your building. The last thing you do when you get behind cover is you can simply wait for the enemy to push you, and ideally you're playing it in a off angle or a really good head glitch that'll keep you in the advantage. Now remember to move that left stick to activate aim assist, and of course stutter aim if you do end up missing some shots. If you have any questions about aiming and shooting, check out these other videos that I've worked on. Now, the whole point of this system is literally every time you get shot at by the enemy or see the enemy, you always break the line of sight and you get back behind cover. Now, a bonus tip for long range and medium range gunfights is when you get back behind cover, you want to visualize the enemy through the wall as if you're a hacker. Aim on them, so when you re-challenge or reposition, you are now aiming directly on the enemy when you peek. Therefore, you're gonna get first shot and ideally kill the enemy. Rebirth isn't just about gunfights, it's a chessboard. And the better you understand positioning, the easier the game will be. So now talking about our positioning system, we're gonna start with having 1 or 2 places that you are confident at always landing at. For me, that'll be factory and that'll be control. For this video, we're gonna mostly focus on control. For control, I always land in the 2nd story building through this window, and I'm able to find about 3 different chests to give me the loot I need in order to outgun the enemies at control center. As you're doing this, if you see 2 different teams fighting each other, you can third party them. But for the most part, this is where you follow our gunfight system. After everyone is dead and you control your POI, you would want to get a loadout and then instantly get back to high ground. Now, when you're on the high ground, you can look north, south, west, and east to find teams fighting each other so you can third party them, or you'll just find people out in the distance that you and your teammates can team shoot and try to get some free kills. A very important part about playing on this high ground is play on the edge of the building, because if you get shot from a distance, you could just lay down, center like a hacker, and then look for those kills in the distance. Or if you did get shot from your roof and you got surprise attacked, you can at least jump off the roof and survive by escaping throughout the building. Such as prison. I always recommend playing on the edge of prison. If you ever randomly get shot from your rooftop, just jump off, go inside of the bottom floor of prison. That being said, even when you're inside of the building, always play windows and doorways. They give you the same 50-50 exit. If you get shot from outside, you can go inside to a new window, new doorway. If you get shot from inside, you can go outside, rotate in a circle, go to a different window, doorway, or maybe you can even get back to the high ground, which that's what we always want. Now, let's say the gas is closing and you need to rotate to a new area. I always recommend rotating to the next highest ground and fighting those enemies for that high ground. Of course, buy UAVs to help you have info on your journey there. You could also buy a precision or a cluster strike just to cause some chaos when you're fighting that team at the next high ground position, which most of your games on Rebirth Island, maintaining top prison control, will most of the time give you the high ground that you need to win. But sometimes the game does end at different places like living quarters, control, even bioweapons sometimes, where those buildings are the highest ground. You would want to control those. Now, in the final circle, so around circle 5 through 8, this is where you can split the final circle up into 4 quadrants, and when you clear out 2 of the quadrants, the enemies must be in the other 2 quadrants you didn't clear. Therefore, they're right in front of you. At that point, just follow your gunfight system, clutch up, and win your game. Following this gunfight system and this positioning system, you will be in the advantage majority of all of your games. So this is how you're going to start winning more games and get more kills. However, if you're wondering how to increase your kills from about 10 kills a game to 20, 30, maybe even 40, this is where we talk about pacing. Pacing is simply flowing through the map while keeping the advantage, aka high ground, the most cover, and popping UAVs so you know where the enemies are. The gameplay you're watching right now was from a coaching session where we worked on pacing by landing at control, rotating up to docks, and then prison, and you'll see how every game we got more kills and ended up winning 3 games in a row. So we landed at control, and after winning our gunfights and getting our loadout, we would get to the rooftop, look north, south, west, and east, and we actually found a bunch of players always playing over here at the boat. Now, in one of the games, this team took way too long to kill, so we actually left them and moved over here towards docks, where we ended up finding free kills of people buying their loadout. Once we ended up over here, we occasionally found maybe 1 or 2 kills at industry, but we would eventually make our way all the way up to top prison. And when we got to top prison, we would always maintain the edge of the map, looking for kills out in the distance. Now, one of the games we ended up needing to rotate back towards control to play for the end game, but the whole point is if this end game, pulled towards factory, we could easily parachute from high ground to high ground and we're in the end game. Same thing with industry. We can parachute high ground to high ground. Same thing with living quarters, parachute high ground to high ground. Just the whole point is prison is the highest point of the map and it offers easier rotations to wherever the game is ending. Let's take a look at these gameplays and see how we won 3 games in a row while increasing our kills every single game. In our first game, we do this landing right here at Control Center where there's these 3 chests and then I find a weapon that I prefer using. Now, when I find my weapon, an enemy peeks out, but the first thing I do is get behind cover and then re-challenge. Got 1 kill. We then push up the staircase and I did the exact same thing. I saw an enemy, I got behind cover, re-challenged on the stairs, and almost had this 2-piece right here, but one thing I could have done better is jump out the window to my right. I then landed back at the bottom floor where my teammate said he had some loot for me. We then work our way all the way up to the rooftop where we find another team, and right here I hold a pre-aim to think this guy's gonna re-challenge since I barely got him weak, and thankfully I was able to at least kill one of them, but the other guy got away. After getting this full kill, I see the red dot on the minimap and I predict him to go up the zip line. So I go back towards the roof and he actually already got to the zip line before I did. So I had to use Peeker's advantage once again. I rotate on the left, get to high ground, and then I reposition, killing this enemy. Now, I do instantly get shot, but because I play on the edge of the roof, I'm able to drop down, play my life, and find this final kill. Once again, after all these kills, we get right back to the rooftop. We look north, south, west, and east, looking for enemies to kill, and sure enough, we find an enemy team at this boatyard. However, we get shot from the top lighthouse, so I instantly get behind cover, get my loadout, and I realize this team at lighthouse isn't an easy kill, so it's better if we go and kill the players at the boat. Sure, we have pacing. Do you see the people at the boat? We should kill them because they have to push in from the gas. My teammate pings a player bottom, and I am predicting him to push up on the right, and you'll see how I center like a hacker, predicting him to push here. However, he wasn't here. I eventually tell my teammate we should fight someone else until this happens. All right, so like right now, we're kind of like having bad pacing, right? Like this team is playing super scared, so we should go fight some...
Oh, who's that? Oh, the guy just...
So I make sure I activate my aim assist, look to kill these 2 guys, and deny them any map control or high ground control.
Nice. I'm gonna go back on my loot.
And as I push over to guarantee my teammates loot, we then get shot from top control center.
Some people on top, some people on top.
I'll throw a smoke grenade on. So I use these smoke grenades to rotate out, and I tell my teammate to rotate left. Unfortunately, I didn't stay long enough to help him grab his loot, so he ran into a few teams, but he said move on forward, and I did. We then push bottom tunnel into bottom prison, and then I realize all of these boxes haven't been looted. If they haven't been looted, that means there's probably not any enemies over here. Therefore, we can loot up very quickly and then get... So we got UAVs and went back to top prison. However, my first mistake is we should have killed this team close left since they're the closest. And because we didn't, we allow them to get map control, aka high ground control, and we almost died. Once again, playing on the edge of the roof. If I get shot, I can get back behind cover. But in this moment, I get this player downed, and I realize on my minimap, there's more players on my left. With a precision strike and 2 teams, we just have to drop down. We're gonna have to drop down. We're just gonna have to drop down. So we drop down, rotate back, and then we hit the zip line to get back to the roof. And this is where we're able to find a down, but pay attention how I push on the edge of the building, because if I get shot, I can instantly drop down. Now, I did not play this smart enough. I should have thrown smoke grenades to close the distance, but at least I died where my loot was in a safe area. In this next gunfight, it was a beautiful bait and switch where I challenged first with Peeker's advantage, and then my teammate follows up with Peeker's advantage as well. We got 2 dead. Nice, good win. With the final 2 enemies, we use this precision strike to get to the rooftop, and when we get to the rooftop, we then hold a parade on their door, waiting for them to push, because high ground is usually what people fight for. And then long and behold, the last enemy was actually on the zip line, which surprised me. But here's what's important. Instead of following for this full kill, I ended up rotating back, getting towards zone, and then I played zone for the final kill. Is on my right? Dead?
Yes, that's
With this first game, we only got a total of 14 kills. Loading up game 2, we do the exact same landing. I find loot, and then this enemy right here uses Peeker's advantage against me, so I realize I have to run away, playing window and doorway and rotating around the building. Oof, almost died. We then get back to top control, and we don't have enough plates, so we can't play aggressive. However, we're still finding kills north, south, west, and east. He's dead. I know there's a team under us, and this is what I said.
There's a team under us. Like, I'm just waiting for them to push us because we don't have plates, so we can't push them. And this is where like pacing comes into play, where if these guys take too long to push us, we're probably gonna have to just leave and go somewhere else.
Eventually, the enemies did push us, and we got a free 2-piece with no plates. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, there we go. Right there, our pacing was very slow just because we didn't have any plates, but we came out on top. Once again, looking north, south, west, and east, we found an extra 2 kills. That enemy team was probably trying to third-party us. We rotated back to the roof, got our loadout, saw enemies at boat, and this is where I said, if we don't want to like take too long on this gunfight, so like we'll probably give this like maybe 15 seconds. Thankfully, we didn't need the 15 seconds because I instantly downed this first guy, and then I used centering like a hacker to shoot shots on the second guy, and then I can close the distance to full my kill. We eventually kill the second guy. I go towards this helicopter, go top control, and then after popping UAV, we found enemies top prison. So we throw the helicopter, we get this first kill.
Nice, good kill.
We get shot from behind, but again, instantly get behind cover is our first reaction. This time, we have a red dot where we can help our centering like a hacker, and we instantly melt this guy.
He's dead, he's dead,
Now, I'm aware there's an enemy behind us. I'm not sure why he didn't push, but with confidence and Peeker's advantage, it's an easy kill. Now, this is where I said...
All right, and now we got all those kills. Look at our mini-map. There's people fighting with those missiles. So then we're going to start heading towards there. And this is how we're keeping up the pacing.
As we push towards Chemical, we hear enemies below us, so then I drop down and kill this guy with a bunny hop.
Yeah, third story.
Looking at the mini-map, I see his red dot, and I am hungry for kills, so I full-on just rush this guy, and eventually I catch up with him and kill him. Thankfully, I killed him at a buy station, so we buy more UAVs, we pop them, and find the last enemy team is running towards prison, so we get to the rooftop, they go to the buy station, I confidently push for these final kills and Peeker's advantage, and this last enemy decides to just give us a freebie. That is our second win in a row. This time, we got 16 kills instead of 14. In this third and final game, we pick up the pace extremely well. We land, we get our loot, we then eventually clear out all of Control Center. Once again, playing windows and doorways and getting a free kill.
Dead.
We push over towards the boat after getting loadout, and we kill these enemies at the boat. While shooting this enemy behind the wooden box, I rotate towards the right until I can see him, and then thankfully, I kill this guy with my C9. Last but not least, there's these snipers at the boat, and eventually, you're gonna see how I do kill these 2 enemies, But there's a third enemy with a sniper, and I decide to just leave him. So that sniper did not leave at all, so we left him, we rotate over towards harbor, and this is where we're able to find a kill off of the loadout. We saw his teammates at prison, so we push over towards prison, we get this extra kill, bottom water tower. We then get to top prison, and this enemy actually almost 1v2'd us by practicing exactly what we talked about. However, he didn't have any plates. If he just put on one plate, maybe two, he absolutely kills me there. That guy was a demon, so I killed his teammate and got them out of the game as fast as possible. Eventually at top prison, the game ended at control, so we rotated towards control. We found these enemies out in the distance at stronghold, and we decided to play for these kills. Once again, activating that aim assist for that kill long range. We rotate back towards control, got to high ground, realized there was enemies low ground, and then we cut them off and get rid of them. That enemy tried to land on some loot, but my aim is way too good with aim assist. My teammate realized there's a player lighthouse, so we call a precision strike, and we got some extra free kills. And then in the final circle, we split up the final circle into 4 quadrants. We clear out the bottom right, the bottom left, so these enemies have to be in front of us and towards our left. We now spam grenade literally all of our grenades just to give us some type of advantage, and thankfully it actually hits someone. We rotate around the gas, and this is where we find our final kills, getting our 3rd win in a row and dropping more kills. This time around, we got 22 kills. Now that you got everything you need, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.